If you forget about the news, politicians doing this or that, then you look at the real information that comes out there, and that is that long-term bonds have been going up for a while, and the trend is clear. That is a clear long-term market investing signal that has not yet been accepted by anyone or perceived, because Trump is still yelling about lowering interest rates, everything will be great. But this is a big important factor that's happening. If we look at the US 30-year constant maturity, you see this. 4 decades has been nothing but down with interest rates. However, since the pandemic, it has been nothing but up, and we are approaching 5%. 5% interest on debt. Even worse in the UK. So all these developed countries are seeing issues. Interest bills are rising when it comes to interest payments. You can see it here, net interest payment of the US government approaching 1 trillion, big deficits, borrowing more money to pay the interest, and the bond market slowly but surely starting to react. This is a piece of information that you will not find discussed across the board, and that is why I wanted to share it here. Even Japan bond yields went higher than 3 and 5%. And now we have to assess the market. What is this market signal and how the market is approaching it? The market thinks interest rates will go down. Look at that 5% yield. When interest rates go down, we make money. So despite interest rates going higher, there is still significant demand that prevents those long-term bonds to go even higher in yield. But this is the key factor. Interest payments for the US government based on the debt is 1.1 trillion, more than double over 5 years. If this continues, you'll have, like in the UK, big issues for governments to refinance that. And that is something we have to, as investors, already think about, because the markets doesn't think about it until it becomes a crisis. Here is a gray swan, as they say. You see it, you just don't know whether it will happen tomorrow, in the next 5 or 10 years. But the swan is growing and growing. And at one point, it will be a shock when it hits, because nobody likes to think about shocks. Call me whatever, chicken little, whatever. I'm watching these things, and I just want to be prepared so that whatever happens, I'm good. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to be prepared for wealth accumulation over your life cycle, no matter what crazy politicians do.